Hello and welcome to this basic tutorial on how to draw transformers. Today I'm just going to go through some basic techniques that I use and I find useful when I'm drawing transformers. As I've said in previous tutorials, I'm no expert and I'm improving all the time. But I just thought it might be useful for anyone else that's just starting out to see how I found my way around drawing these things. The issue with transformers is obviously that they are humanoid, but they're very blocky, and if you don't give that blocky look, they don't look right, and that includes perspective, depth, that kind of thing. So we're just going to go through how I would basically start a drawing and follow it through and see how it's usable for like every different type of transformer, if with minor adaptations. Okay, so we're going to get started. Usually I would draw this on paper. I'd do a sketch with a pencil, then I'd correct the sketching, then I'd ink it, then I'd rub out the pencil, then I'd put dark shadows, then I'd scan it, like my other tutorials. But today I'm just going to show the basics and I'm going to do it all through Photoshop. So I'm going to be using a stylus. Now I've only got a Huey on, so it's not the best stylus in the world, but it will do the job, just to have a pen feel when I'm drawing. Okay, so first of all I'm just going to sketch out the figure of, say, a human, so a humanoid figure. Now if you don't know how to do this, there's probably loads of other tutorials online. I mean, I'm self-taught, but I have seen other people doing it, so it's not that hard to pick up. But it's basically the idea that humans are made from circles. You can build up the shape of the human from circles. So we'll start off with the head. I will start with the head. Now the proportions on a transformer are always different to a human. They're more like a large built human, like say the Hulk or something. Well, is the Hulk a human? But he's humanoid. So they're very small head, but then very broad shoulders, accentuated hands and feet. So you'll see as I sketch out, I will try and convey that. So I'm just going to sketch the shape of a human, and then I'm going bigger and bigger. So the chest is going to be bigger. Okay. Then the arms, again circles, but they are big bulky things. So I'm putting big round shoulders. Now the biceps are usually a bit smaller on transformers, but then the forearms are big. Okay, right, now you've done the big chest, and the majority of transformers will come down to a smaller core. So I'm doing a smaller core. Okay. They then have a central belt buckle of sorts. It'll be a plate or whatever, but that usually comes out a little bit wider than the core. You then have a central point here, and that's where obviously the legs pin onto either side. Okay, so the thighs are not usually too big. They're long, but not overly thick. But again, this, you'll be tailoring this to each transformer you draw. But then the feet are always large generally. So I'm going to do the feet large, and the feet are always in like a form of boots. Okay, now instead of the hands are always big, so the hands may be bigger than the head. So then we've got the rough outline. Okay, right, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go on and put more detail in now. Now this is where I'm going to start adding turning it into the blocks. So perspective is the big thing here. Okay. And just keeping an eye between the left and right. You want obviously the right arm and the left arm roughly the same size, so you don't want to be deviating too much. Okay. I'm doing this very, very quickly. I mean, you take as long as you want on this, but I'm doing this quickly just for the demonstration purposes. Now the feet area are not usually blocks, they're more rounded usually, but I'm going to make them into blocks for now before I actually add the detail on. So okay, oh, missed the hands, so okay, so there we go, we've got the rough shape now of what I would use for a transformer. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to demonstrate how this would be usable then for pretty much any transformer, with minor adaptations as needed, as I said earlier. But now you've got that basic frame, I'm just going to save that. Okay, so, but now you've got that, you can now work on that, and that can be pretty much any transformer. So what I've done, I've downloaded a few pictures of transformers that I like, and I'm going to try and adapt that frame to fit these. Okay, so first of all, should we go for, let's go for Megatron first, one of my favourite transformers. So I'm going to put him here. Okay, and I'm going to draw Megatron on here. Now the problem is this image is going to get in the way a little bit, but I'm going to need it. So I'm not although I like Megatron, I'm not familiar with drawing him, but he's just a cool transformer, isn't he? So I'm going to go into now, obviously select a pencil now, but with a black, well, a darker look, and I'm going to go on this first layer here now. So I've called it ink, but that's not going to be the final ink. I'm just going to sketch Megatron onto this frame. As I say, usually I'd be doing this on paper, so yeah, I'd be able to rub out mistakes, I'd be a lot more accurate, but I'm going to try and do it on here today, so we'll see how we get on. So that chest piece actually almost fits perfectly for Megatron. Unfortunately, I can't see what's going on the top of his chest from this image, so maybe not the best picture. Maybe I should have got a few different angles, but I'm not going to draw the logo. That can be added on later. Okay, so his core does come in, but it's still wider than this, so I'm going to draw these vents in here. You can see I'm rushing because none of my lines are straight. It's a bit harder with a tablet than it would be on paper. You get the idea. Right, so these come out to a lip, I believe, like that. I'm making a few corrections that I don't believe the toy is accurate, because obviously the toy has to be able to transform, so okay, with this side, how much of the shoulder are you going to see? I don't know, because that gun's going to come up, but the gun's going to be attached here, so we'll do that in a minute. his arm is narrow here, and then he's got the forearm. The toys don't have the accentuated hands like I like to do in my drawings, but I think I prefer the larger hands, so I will stick with drawing the larger hands. So the thumb, fingers, yeah, that's not a great hand. I'll probably zoom in and draw that better. I will draw the head properly. Let's have a go. Megatron face, but I'll have to practice. I probably want a better source material for a face than that, but get the idea. You zoom in, you can really see how bad these lines are. But this is just a sketch, this wouldn't be the lines you'd be using. Okay, so let's try drawing this gun on. So this is a big cube on here. Perspective's all whack there. Just going to draw myself some guidelines here. I want this gun to be straight, or is it just going to look terrible? So that's just holding shift, and that allows you to draw a straight line. over his belt. He looks like he's got a big nappy on, to be honest. So we'll draw that in. The legs. There's one good thing about the toys. The details, like on the mouldings, are usually very good. So gives you loads of little details like this to put in the panels, as opposed to just big flat plates. These legs don't actually look very G-waddy, but probably been improved. Okay, so in a very short time there, I've converted that into a Megatron. Obviously just using that frame straight into Megatron. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Then what I do is I create another layer over the top of it, and then go in and draw neat lines by using, probably with him, use shift. So I'd go, if I was going to draw on computer, obviously on paper I'd do it with proper ink. So I'd draw in everything neat and make it nice all straight. So I'm going to delete that layer. Megatron. Right. So who's next? Who are we going to go for next? Who are we going to convert this frame into? So I'll minimise the Megatron. Who have we got? We've got Slag, Scorponok, Ironhide, Jazz. That's my Jazz. I haven't drawn Jazz before, so that makes it a bit more interesting for me. Okay. A new layer, call it Jazz, and see how we get on with Jazz. Okay, so Jazz's chest plate is not high and tight, it comes swooping right out, so straight away I'm going to have to modify this to do that. So it's basically the bonnet is his chest plate, and then the bumper. So it's not straight either, it's rounded, so I've got to modify that. But put the head, just sketching the headlights now, and the grille. Okay, and he's got obviously the graphics coming down from where his head is, so the livery of the vehicle. And when you went into detail, you'd put the vents in and things like that. Okay, now he's got nice big square blocks again on his shoulder, so that's pretty easy to deal with. And again on the outside. But they're like I won't say rounded, but the edges are tilted. If you look, they're like slanted. Okay, and the forearms again are just these. Sorry, the biceps are just these fin bits, which works perfectly because it's exactly what we got. Right, so the forearms have got a cutout here, here, obviously the articulation of the joint. There it goes across. Can't really see very well. That'll be on the underside, so that's alright. And then the biggish hands, yeah. Sip of tea. That's what us English do. Right. Let's get in and draw that head. However, I'm going to zoom in. I am going to zoom in on Jazz's head as well. Is not toy, sorry, is not really detailed enough. So I'd probably go and find another picture of that Jazz for the face. Again, I'm just going to draw that humanoid face, then I'm just going to draw the helmet kind of over the top. No, I don't like that. And then you got a fin, haven't you? Well, mohawk style part like most of the Transformers do. Yeah, it doesn't look like Jazz to me. I don't think these are big enough. Like the core again does come in narrower, but it looks like there's a two-stage narrowness. So it's got this section first, all this detail. So you'd obviously draw all this detail in if you was going to be drawing this properly. Etc. etc. Right, and then it comes into the actual core, which is narrow, like we said. Again, the toy is very nice and detailed, so if you want that detail you can zoom in and get all those panels on. Right, the big belt is present on this guy. So again, you're going to want to put all these like edges and flats and everything like that on there when you do it properly, but I'm just going to try and get the overview of it for this drawing tutorial. Okay. Just draw this hand in for now. Okay, legs. Well, these ones on Jazz actually go slightly wider than the average Transformer, so I'm going to draw those slightly wider. And he doesn't have knee joints. Now, obviously, knee protection, sorry, but obviously when you're drawing your own Transformer, you can actually make it how you want, so you can add the knee protection. Now with Jazz I probably would, but I'm just going to copy the toy for now. And obviously articulations will be in here. Jazz just seems to have like an inner part that then connects into the feet. And his feet are fairly complicated, so we'll just draw those quickly. As I say, this is just roughing it. Oh, I picked the wrong tool. I wonder what it was doing. Yeah, to get straight you would hold shift and do it properly, or if it was on paper you'd be using a ruler or a guide. If you want to see more accurate drawings from me, by all means check my other stuff out. I've got other tutorials. I mean, at the moment I've got a Bumblebee tutorial and my first tutorial, which is Optimus, which I'm not too keen on the finished product, but a lot of the techniques I use in it are like the same techniques basically used in the Bumblebee and how I generally draw. So although it didn't turn out very well, it should be still useful. Okay, and then the final stage for Jazz. Jazz was a bit more complicated than I thought. Is the doors, because obviously he has his doors out like wing, and he also has this panel coming up behind the back of his head, so don't miss that. Obviously you draw on the handles and the logos and everything like that, and then you'd be done. So that would be a basic Jazz sketch. One of the coolest Transformers going. And again, you go around that with straight lines or what have you when you want to neaten it up. That's Jazz. And then we'll do one more just to prove it can be done. I'm going to pick a hard one, am I? Alright, Scorponok. Probably Scorponok, because Scorponok is a different frame shape, so it's going to probably need quite a bit of modification. So to make this into Scorponok, it's probably going to need some modification. So I'm just going to roughly sketch Scorponok now over the top of this. Yeah, he's definitely going to need some modification, especially around this core. He hasn't got no core really. So, okay, so first of all, I'm going to start with this chest plate. Now the chest plate is very pronounced again. Comes right out. The amount of detail on Scorponok also makes it hard. Obviously I'm not drawing into that detail with these drawings, but I'll try and add some of it to convey it. Just a quality looking Transformer, isn't he really? It's just menacing. It's a shame he's a bit of a wimp in the comics compared to the animated. remember from the comics, he's just more of a schemer than an actual brute like he is in the animated. Right, so I've done the main core there. Now this section here is going to be a lot higher, and these legs are going to bolt onto here, so I'm going to have to adjust this now heavily. So, but I'm going to try and stay within the constraints of this. I'm still going to use this guide to get those bits in, and to get them in like the kind of right perspective, etc. I'm going to try and draw it in. And those legs are going to bolt off the side here, aren't they? So I'm still going to be using the guides and working from that. A great looking toy. So much detail. I should draw Scorpion up properly, because I usually have trouble filling these panels and everything with detail, but he's got so much detail on him. It's you could be there all day drawing him, still not do it justice. I'm going to try and speed this up, because I'm aware I'm going to be spending way too long on Scorponok otherwise. I'm boring the hell out of you all. Okay, so with his feet, he's got actually separated feet, like a joint that comes out, so which is smaller, and then goes onto the actual. I mean, his feet are massive. And like the rest of him, very detailed. Once you know how to draw him from memory, then this will all speed up as well. I can pretty much draw Optimus from memory. Some of my drawings of him are less good than others, but still I can get a recognisable Optimus pretty quickly. Okay, so I had to do that quite a lot with those legs. And the arms, those positions will be fine, but Scorponok does tend to have his arms sticking out all the time, so you can adjust them and just make them, when you draw your initial pose, just draw the arms slightly out. For now, I'm just going to draw them over as they are, but he's got massive claws. So But the structure is generally there. I mean, there's a big shoulder plates here with the cannons on, which I'm going to have to draw obviously because it won't be Scorponok without them. And then the forearms are just another articulation joint, very small. But then you've got these big claws. Quite know what I was doing there. But hey, this is how you learn. I'm doing that claw behind his leg. And this one's going to be in front. I'm going to draw at a different angle this time. I'll draw it from top down. So it's rotated at this joint here. Tricky though, because I haven't got the claw from this angle, so I'm going to be winging it. Force it a lot higher than this one. I'm going to draw it bigger, I think. Hitting the cannons again, I'm just going to draw these with straight lines. That's terrible. And the face. Now that's not the face I remember of Scorponok, so I'm going to use that, but I'm going to draw my own. Scorponok I know always has like visor, like jazz, I suppose, like almost like sunglasses. Again, rough drawing, quick as possible. I realise I've taken a very long time on this one. It's quite cool drawing Scorponok. I'm zoomed a bit far in, so I can't really tell how this is going to look. This might look terrible, but and yeah, this crown doesn't look like how I usually draw Scorponok. Usually like that, I believe. Those bits on this eye's back to accentuate those now. That more threatening figure. Okay. Okay, so there's my really quick Scorponok. You can see, even though I had to change that quite a lot, I could still get that to work with Scorponok, which is a very different shape transformer. Obviously I'll be going around and defining all the edges, especially like this core comes right in Scorponok. So it's almost like this is a pivot joint here. I think if actually the toy, it does actually rotate on this point. These are separate down here. But yeah, so if you like the tutorial, please give a like. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them below. If you have any suggestions what you'd like me, like to see me do or explain how I would do it, again, down in the comments below. You can find me on Facebook and you can find me on Twitter. Thank you for watching.